Following program may contain language of an adult nature. Listener discretion is advised.
Views and opinions expressed on the following program are those of the hosts and guests, and not necessarily those of the staff or management of alltalkradio.net.
Welcome to Dontae's Boxing Nation Show here on alltalkradio.net. Now here's your host, Dontae.
Good. All right, guys. BoxingTalk.com, alltalkradio.net, and welcome to the Dontae's Boxing Nation Show. I am your host, Dontae. Joining me today, as always, my co-host in the building, Norrin Radical.
Yes, sir.
And on the phone, we have two of the best YouTube channels out there. Go ahead and subscribe if you guys haven't already. We have Ego's World, okay, and we also have AKA Rap King. Ekin Fight News supposed to be joining us as well. I don't know if he's on the mic with us yet, but we'll see in a minute. But anyway, before we go, and we got a whole lot of boxing to talk about. Before I start talking about some of the upcoming fights, I want to go ahead and say rest in peace, Dan Goossen. Our condolences goes out to him and his family. He was a great promoter, so keep your head up. It kind of surprises me that, for him to pass away at age 64, and you still have people like Bob Arum and Don King still roaming around in their 80s. That's pretty wild, man. So it was a pretty surprising death. But once again, condolences goes out to the Goossen family. One more thing I want to talk about is the Box Fan Expo. For those of you guys who didn't show up, me and Norrin Radical was there.
Absolutely.
Man, it was a blast. We had a good time, right?
Absolutely.
The turnout was big, wasn't it, Norrin?
Yeah, it was bigger than I expected, and I'm pretty optimistic, right?
Yeah, absolutely. it was a big. I mean, and when you think about it, Norrin,
For sure.
we didn't even advertise it that much.
Exactly.
So it turned out pretty big. A lot of stars. The atmosphere was electric.
I mean, who was some of the boxing luminaries there who we had in attendance? I mean,
Sergio Martinez, Mike Tyson,
Iron Mike,
Sean Porter,
Zab Judah,
Amir Khan.
Oh man,
everybody, the heavyweights, Riddick Bowe,
Ray Mercer,
yeah, James Toney. Who else was
Chris
there?
Bird.
Chris Bird was there. Everybody was there. Now you got me thinking. I just want to let everybody know who else was
Terrible there. Terry Norris.
Pascal. He was there.
John Pascal.
Yeah.
Forget about it.
Yeah. Forget about it.
Yeah. Forget about it. Yeah.
But it was a good turnout.
Absolutely.
And I want to say, to all the fans that came up to me and took pictures with me and showed love to my YouTube channel, I want to say thanks to you guys. Thanks for tuning in and being a part of my Boxing Nation. Also, the people who gave me shots out or who came over, who followed me through BoxingTalk.com. I was surprised how many people knew me straight through BoxingTalk.com. So it's just cool for you guys show the love, and it's cool to get that type of exposure.
Reputation procedure, brother.
There it is.
Sure.
So we're going to go ahead and get into the real shit, the real boxing talk. Let me see. Is E. King, are you on the line with us? Okay. I guess E. King didn't make it. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get into it. Now, first things first, guys. I wanted to talk a little bit about a video I just recently did. Marcos Maidana. Now he's got a little bit of star power since he just fought the man. We know everybody becomes a little bit of a star once you lose to Floyd Mayweather, right? So now Keith Thurman is calling out Marcos Maidana. And, I want to ask, let's go ahead and start with you, Norrin. I want to ask, what do you think, man? Do you think Marcos Maidana, him being a tough man, he's a power puncher, he goes for the knockout. Do you think it makes sense for him to take that fight?
Of course. I mean, yeah, it's a no-brainer. Of course, it's a great fight. It's a great fight for boxing, great fight for the fans. You said, what's the percentages? We got probably maybe a 90% chance of seeing a KO, a spectacular KO at that. So, it's a great match. I guess what we got to consider is, I mean, like you said, he has turned down the fight previously,
twice already, actually.
Twice already. We know the gets a little played out, gets a little hackneyed at times, but, you know, boxing is a business. We do understand that, you know. So I imagine, you know, maybe he well, I guess if you have a choice between Adrian Broner, who's coming up from 135, you know, as opposed to fighting Keith Thurman, who's already, you know, a full-fledged welterweight, you know, I guess, you know, you might want to take Broner, and then if you got a shot at the, you know, at the Super Bowl, you know, with Mayweather, you know, you're going to take it. So, okay, let's, you know, just giving benefit of the doubt, let's give a little bit of leeway why the fight didn't, you know, go down the first 2 times or whatever. It was turned down. Now, there's absolutely no excuse. You know what I mean? It's absolutely no excuse.
Yeah.
I mean, except for fear. I don't think it, you know, but I'm just saying, you know, if he doesn't, if Keith Thurman is adamantly calling out Maidana right now, and he is, you know, not stepping up to the challenge, then that's a duck.
There you
Plain
go.
and simple.
There you go. And AK Norrin, he brings up a good point when he talks about fear. Now, like I said, we were talking about Floyd Mayweather. All the fans, the decafs, they were saying that Floyd Mayweather, he was afraid of those special gloves that Maidana had. Oh, he was shaking in his boots, you know, about them damn gloves that Maidana had. So, AK, let me ask you, if Floyd Mayweather was afraid, you know, to fight Maidana with them gloves, but he still end up fighting him, does this make Maidana even more afraid of Keith Thurman because he may not take this fight, AK?
Won't even get in the ring.
Maidana is terrified. That's what it is. Maidana is the A side, right? So make Keith Thurman use the gloves with no padding, the one that you want to use against Floyd.
Beautiful.
Okay,
That's a good point.
Fight the man. You know, you're the A side, so go ahead and do that. But all you have to do is fight the man, Keith Thurman. Like I said, you made a great video. Go ahead and check it out, and everybody check the video that Dontae
Good looking.
made. With, you know, you talked about if Floyd Mayweather was scared of Maidana, right? Y'all said he was scared of Maidana because he didn't want to let him use his special gloves, but he still fought him. So what that makes Maidana, because he won't even get it in the ring against Floyd Mayweather, but y'all call him, and he's known as a tough guy. He's been fighting in the streets, this and that, and you know. Why you don't get in the ring with somebody like Keith Thurman, and you avoided him in the past twice already? You know, what that say about Maidana, and what that really say about Floyd Mayweather? You know, so like I said, make Keith Thurman use the gloves, and he's still gonna fight you. But we already know what it is. Maidana don't want no part of Keith Thurman.
At least that's what it seems like. What you think, Ego? Is he afraid? Should he take that fight? Should he take a different fight? What do you think, Ego?
Well, me, I think, first of all, I love the fight. I think it's an explosive, action-packed fight. It's on record that Maidana ducked at least once against Keith Thurman because I believe I was watching HBO because they were on HBO at the time, and this was supposed to be Keith Thurman's debut on HBO, and I think he had like maybe 16-0 with 16 knockouts or something crazy, and he was little known. So at that point, Maidana, the fight was actually made. They actually had an advertisement. I was watching another fight. I forgot which one it was, but they said, Boxing After Dark presents, and it said Maidana-Thurman. They even had a trailer for it and everything. So the fight was literally supposed to take place. And at that point, he had the ability to say, who is this guy? We don't really know nothing about him. But Keith Thurman has built a little bit of a name for himself. So now you don't really have anywhere to turn or hide. You can't say, we don't know who this guy is. People at least know. There's been several interviews and stuff. So I like the fight a lot. And I hope Marcos Maidana does take the fight because it's a good fight for the fans. Adrian Broner, he was kind of in over his head at welterweight. You know, he moved up really quick, jumped 2 weight classes. He just wasn't ready for the big boys. But like Norm said, Keith Thurman is a full-fledged welterweight. He's a guy who actually went up to 54 and dealt with a slicker fighter in Quintana, and he stopped him too. So his power even transitioned to 54. So when you got that kind of KO power on both sides, then, it's money. I'll eat some popcorn and just sit back and enjoy the show.
Yeah, I hear you. Now, it's funny, Ego, when you was talking about Maidana probably finding out that Keith Thurman was 16-0 with 16 knockouts, I would love to have seen the reaction or the response when Maidana, when they first even proposed Keith Thurman as an opponent, he probably looked at the paper and like 16-0 with 16 knockouts. What the hell should I get in the ring with this dude for? This dude gonna damn near try to kill me. I don't know nothing about this man. You know, I mean, I would love to have been there when I seen Maidana's reaction when they first showed him, you know, Keith Thurman's record and everything. But like Norrin said, there is no excuse anymore. There really aren't any excuses anymore.
And again, just let me just
see the thing.
It's all good. Okay, let me take the opportunity. Just to interject. I still think, just some benefit of the doubt, I still think it was more of, again, who was this guy at that time? You know what I mean? As opposed to Maidana, you know, really being a coward or whatever. Because I you know, these decafs are ridiculous, you know, with those accusations towards Mayweather. I think it's almost just as ridiculous to say that Maidana's a coward, but we do it for the effect to show them how ridiculous they are in saying it. Mm-hmm. But again, if he don't take the fight now, you know, you know what I'm saying? Because prior to that, I think it was bad for business. You know, like don't take this risk. Now, there's no excuse.
Let me just respond to that. Yes, in defense of Marcos Maidana, I'm just telling you, if it were me, I'm telling you, I would be afraid. I would have a little fear if someone just gave me a piece of paper and said, that's the guy you fighting. Go ahead and look at his stats. And I don't know nothing about him. Yeah. He got all knockouts. All I know is this is Al Heyman's new boy. We know Al Heyman is not going to give me somebody I'm supposed to beat. So I'm telling you, I would be afraid if I was Marcos Maidana, if I seen a record like that, unless I was just that super beast that felt that, you know, I had no fear and I could beat anybody in the world at the time. I'm just saying,
I don't know how good of a job you're doing in defending him, but point taken. Hey, go ahead, AK.
You understand the point I'm making?
Of course. Know. I'm hoping that it's more business than fear. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
go ahead.
No, you're right. It's
sure.
Both. It's both. Go ahead.
What I heard is really his handlers that they were like, oh, who is this guy? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And I agree with Norm. I think it was more of a business decision. I mean, Maidana's been shot in the back and all that, so I don't think he just was shaking in his boot, but it was a high risk, low reward because nobody knew exactly who he was. But the thing that makes me mad is I think nowadays boxing fans become so soft where, not all of them, of course, but some boxing fans are so soft where we make excuses. We make excuses like, Keith Thurman hasn't fought anybody. But, hey, when he has fought the journeymen and the gatekeepers, the Soto Carrasas and people like that, he's been impressive and he's looked good, the Julio Diaz's of the world, and he's calling everybody out. There's a video online right now. He's calling Amir Khan out. He says he wants Marcos Maidana. So, as fans, we can't just say, oh, he ain't fought nobody.
Absolutely
not. Of course.
No one's giving him the opportunity
because he's
creating let him fight somebody.
Every time he steps
in the ring. And if he gets knocked out by Maidana or Amir Khan just blitzes him, then it is what it is. At least we got to see him have his step-up challenge. But fans are so quick nowadays to just say he ain't fought nobody. Why should he get? Why should Edeslandi Lara get Canelo? He's nobody. He's not marketable.
With Keith Thurman, you can't use that excuse because every time he steps in the ring, he creates excitement.
Of course. Not only that.
And also,
go ahead, AK.
Yeah, and just touching on your point, you know, if somebody gave me a record and they told me I got to fight somebody with 16 fights and 16 knockouts, if he's unknown, I probably would tell myself, like, he probably fought 16 bums and knocked him out, you know?
It's a possibility.
I mean, if Maidana was that confident in himself. But they probably looked at his amateur background and saw that it was deep and was like, yo, this ain't no easy fight. Because if you're going to be on HBO fighting an unknown fighter, if you was really confident, you probably would looked at it like, oh, he fought 16 bums. I'm put a show on HBO and knock him out. But like I said, they probably looked at his amateur background and was like, yo, hold up, you know, I don't think I could beat this guy. This is not no tune-up coming off a loss to Alexander. But again, you know, a lot of people say he already ducked him twice, and if he ducks him again, I mean, it just tells you
it's a duck.
The type of fighter Maidana.
Quack, quack.
Yeah.
Don't duck me, son.
There you go. And like I said, man, and you know, guys, I'm just being funny when I say, you know, in terms of being in his shoes, you know, I would be afraid. The point that I'm making is you got a guy with 100% knockout ratio. He's with Al Heyman. I agree with all what you guys are saying.
Of course.
You know, a lot of it is business. But business also does have to do with you being afraid of losing, because that's a bad business move. Losing is a bad business move.
Risk.
You know, risk. You know, high risk, low reward. And I would say, yeah, it wouldn't be that much of a reward even if Keith Thurman was, Maidana was able to beat Keith Thurman when he first came out, right? Because he beat someone that nobody knew. But
now, it's huge.
Now it's huge.
It's huge.
It's no different than Keith Thurman when he beat Chavez. When he beat Chavez, it was a good win, but nobody really knew who Chavez was. Imagine if Chavez would have, got up to the level to where he beat, some major guy, then Keith Thurman, beat him. It would be even bigger, So another thing I want to say in defense of Keith Thurman is, I like something Keith Thurman said. He said, people keep talking about who have I fought. The real question is, who has fought me, right? That's an excellent point. And let's go ahead and play Decaf's advocate right now, because the Decaf and the casual fans, et cetera, they're asking the question. So let's ask the question for them. They're saying Keith Thurman is the #1 mandatory for Floyd Mayweather, right? So I want to ask you, Norrin, do you feel that Floyd Mayweather is ducking Keith Thurman?
Nope, absolutely not, because I go from a historical precedent. Even though we're living in Floyd's time, but it's still a historical precedent. Every time he's been accused of, ducking somebody, he doesn't want to fight this guy, he's scared. And that's what this whole conversation about Maidana and Thurman really is based on. We're just being facetious, like you said, by calling Maidana a coward. We're just showing how ridiculous you sound to say, if Floyd, you couldn't paint the picture any better than what you express. You know what I'm saying, D? If Floyd was scared because of the gloves, then what the hell does that? What the fuck does that make?
That make Maidana?
Exactly. But no, of course, Floyd's not ducking Thurman. Maidana needs to step up, take the Thurman fight. Thurman, if he gets past Maidana, he's right there in the sweepstakes to be considered. Floyd only has the 2 fights left, on his contract. But if there's nobody available, in these, for 2015, and Thurman and Maidana happens, and Thurman wins impressively over Maidana, I see that fight happen. I think Floyd would love to go out like that. Mayweather would love to go out like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
By beating, another boogeyman. That's what he built his career off of.
That's what he built his career off of.
He's greatness off of that.
He's already done it before.
Sure.
That's the point that I was
Numerous
making.
times.
Numerous times.
For sure.
Floyd Mayweather has fought the Keith Thurmans over and over and over again. And that's what I was saying. And, me and Eagle, I'm going to let you talk, Eagle, but me and Eagle, we was talking on the phone for about an hour or two earlier today. We were talking about this, and what I was saying to Eagle was, with Floyd Mayweather, he's already fought the undefeated, strong punchers that everyone said he was ducking. They said he was ducking Canelo, who was at 154, came in the ring at damn near 170, 165. They said he was ducking Shane Mosley. They said he was ducking Diego Corrales. Floyd Mayweather has fought these guys. Eagle, he came back and he said, well, Maidana did fight undefeated fighters before, which is true. He did fight undefeated Ortiz. He did fight undefeated Adrian Broner. But yet at the same time, only thing I would say different is Floyd Mayweather, he did it when he was already on top, when he had already proved a whole bunch of things, and he continues to prove more and more things.
When he had something to lose.
Marcos Maidana, on the other hand, he had no choice.
He had nothing to lose.
Yeah, he had nothing to lose.
Floyd fought these guys when he had something to lose.
Exactly. Marcos Maidana, he was a nobody when he fought Victor Ortiz. That that was his highest payday. So it was, and even Adrian Broner, that was another, fight where it made it was win-win for him.
For sure.
Even if he lost, just like the Mayweather situation was win-win, regardless if he lost, right? So, Eagle, what do you think about the Maidana's, the Keith Thurman situation, in Mayweather?
As far as Floyd, I understand he's the highest paid athlete and everything, but I think so much of the spotlight is on him. And it's like, why is he held to this standard when he has the more longevity than really any of these dudes in the sport? Like, people are like, oh, but Canelo, he's brave. He'll fight 3 times a year. That's what he should be doing. He's 23, 24 years old. That's what he should be doing. Mayweather was doing that when he was 23, 24 years old also. So I feel like they throw rocks at they throw rocks at the throne when Mayweather's been here, he's been in the game 18 years. He doesn't have to necessarily, like people were mad when he was fighting one time a year. That's because he's paid his dues. If you're a teacher and you've been teaching at the same school in the same school district for 20 years, yeah, you might have a couple of perks like a reserved parking or a bigger classroom or, you know what I mean, certain
seniority, baby.
For sure.
Proves, you know what I mean? You have seniority. You paid your dues, whereas guys like Keith Thurman and Canelo's, they're young, strong champions and fighters, but they have to pay their dues in the game. You know what I mean? So they should be fighting more actively than the Mayweathers or Pacquiaos or whatnot. So I think a lot of people, just their resentment towards Floyd, they hold him to a standard that they don't hold other people to. Like if Mayweather doesn't fight his mandatory, he's a bitch. But other people didn't fight their mandatory.
Mm-hmm.
Or when Mayweather fought his mandatory, which was Robert Guerrero, you complain about that. So it's like, what is it? He fights his mandatory in Robert Guerrero. You say he cherry-picked. Then he doesn't fight a mandatory in Keith Thurman. Then you say he's scared and he's ducking. So when it comes to Mayweather, it's a sensitive subject, and people will never be happy. They already have their mind.
Sensitive subject. Man, emotional fans. Ain't that the word? Because a lot of these fans are basing shit on nothing but emotion. Go ahead, AK.
Sensitive.
See, and the thing, you know, as a fan, I would love to see Floyd Mayweather versus Keith Thurman, right? But from a business point of view, Amir Khan versus Floyd makes sense. But all the fans would say, hell no, I would rather see Thurman versus Floyd. We all could agree to that, right?
Mm-hmm.
We would rather see Floyd Mayweather versus Keith Thurman than Amir Khan versus Floyd. But that fight will bring more money to the table to Floyd Mayweather if he fights Khan, right?
No doubt.
Now, if Thurman, however, goes and beat Maidana or, a Robert Guerrero, a huge name, and he makes a huge statement by knocking them out and win convincingly, then that Floyd Mayweather versus Keith Thurman fight could be a huge fight. And when if Floyd Mayweather wins, people can't make excuses. Well, Thurman ain't fought nobody. He was all hype. Let's say if Floyd Mayweather fight Keith Thurman tomorrow and beats him, well, people gonna say, oh, he was hyped up.
Of course. Of course.
I mean, like I said, yeah, go ahead.
I was going to add something real quick to what you're saying. It's like people have a checklist of names, and as soon as they're tough or they look horrible in a fight, Sergio Martinez, people are like, oh, Floyd's to fight Sergio Martinez. Then he gets whooped by Cotto. Now no one's screaming for that fight. Ruslan Provodnikov, I heard people think Floyd like Ruslan and Lucas Matisse, and he dashes Matiste's eye up. No one's craving for that fight. So, like you're saying, every time they just go down the list, like, oh, Canelo's going to destroy him. Then he doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
Then they move down to the list. Oh, he can't fuck with Maidana. Then he beats Maidana twice. Oh, now he needs to fight Khan. Then it's going to be Triple G. Then it's going to be God. And he's going to have to keep fighting.
Exactly. What are the upper limits of Mayweather's skills? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
it's always going to be someone else. Ego, just like you said earlier, man. Ruslan Provodnikov, Juan Marquez versus Ruslan Provodnikov is a perfect example of the double standards that exist with Floyd Mayweather. Juan Marquez, he openly ducks and avoids Ruslan Provodnikov. You know what the fans say? They say it doesn't matter. He doesn't have to fight him because he's older and he's already a legend. So they're basically saying it don't matter who he ducked now because he's already done everything to be a legend. But we all know that Floyd Mayweather is the best fighter of this era. We know that he done fought over 20 champions. He's the only fighter, once again, fighting young champions, 15, 20 years younger than him, 20 pounds bigger than him. But they don't say that for Floyd Mayweather. So that's why I'm saying when it comes to the Keith Thurman situation, regardless if Floyd Mayweather fights Keith Thurman or not, these fans are going to say the exact same thing about Floyd Mayweather because it ain't about boxing with them. It's about being sensitive, just like like you said, Ego. So
and then to add salt into the wound, they talk up Manny Pacquiao versus Chris Algieri. Oh,
absolutely.
He's tall, though.
Absolutely.
So you mean almost a 40-year-old going in against an unorthodox power puncher who's improving with Robert Garcia like Maidana twice, that and having a second crack at it, that's less danger, less immediate danger than Chris Algieri,
who has no knockouts.
Pacquiao. Wow. Yeah, he has 8 knockouts. And, I mean, I understand he struggles with that style, But why don't you find that style in your division, like a Keith Thurman? I think Keith Thurman has good boxing skill, plus he has power, plus he's more of a welterweight, full-size welterweight, as opposed to Chris Algieri, who's just, he's tall and a good, slick boxer in the lighter division.
Yeah, no, it don't make sense. I mean, there is no way you could sit here and say that Robert Guerrero, Canelo Alvarez, Marcos Maidana,
Keith Thurman, or I'm just saying all the fighters that Floyd Mayweather faced. Oh, okay.
All of those guys were cherry picks for Floyd Mayweather.
I thought you were saying you can't tell me that all of those guys or none of those guys would be a more worthy challenge of a legend of the status of Pacquiao,
Oh, of course.
as opposed
That too.
to Chris Algieri, taking nothing
That
away
too.
from the hometown kid, Chris Algieri, but you already know.
Pacquiao could have
For
fought anybody at the welterweight division that would have been a bigger step up than
Exactly.
Chris Algieri.
For
Even
sure.
though I told you I'm in the minority and I believe Chris Algieri has a really good chance to win, but that's just because of the skills that Manny Pacquiao lacks,
True indeed.
not because he's this great Muhammad Ali, right?
And with the cherry picking, any way you slice it, everybody you just named has a better resume as it sits than Chris Algieri. Chris Algieri's biggest claim to fame was a hard-fought fight against Ruslan Provodnikov
That was
and
very
Emmanuel
close.
Taylor, which Broner beat and knocked down. You know what I mean? Canelo at least fought Shane Mosley, Kermit Cintron, some washed-up guys like Baldemir, Josecito Lopez, Austin Trout, and then he fought Floyd. So his resume is already better than Chris Algieri. Robert Guerrero, Orlando Salido lost. He fought Escobedo. He's been in there with better names per his division. So all those dudes have better resumes than Chris Algieri. And I'm not taking anything away from Algieri because I like him.
Yeah, and on top of everything you just said, Ego, they're welterweights. All those other guys that Manny Pacquiao could have faced were welterweights. Chris Algieri is not a welterweight. That's the biggest, that's the biggest offense right there, and contradiction to these fans. they'll try to they're trying to promote him as a heavyweight. They said, "Oh yeah, Manny Pacquiao, he's fighting a good opponent. Look how tall he is. You got to look up to him."
That's the bias too. Robert Guerrero at least had 2 solid performances at welterweight in the new division against Celtic Iden, and then he bashed up Berto and had him doing the Philly shell and all that, and it was a good fight towards the end, I guess you could say. But that's at least 2 fights to acclimate to the new division.
Yes, sir.
How many fights has Chris Algieri had at 144?
Absolutely. Yep, that is the double standards, but
day.
the truth always breaks out, and comes to light. And, we're seeing it because for years, see, like I said, the decaf, they have to say this because they understand once they see Manny Pacquiao take this Chris Algieri fight, I think deep down they said, "Oh, no, Manny, why you do this? Now we're going to have to lie and defend all this stuff we've been saying for years about Floyd Mayweather cherry picking." See, that's what they were saying deep down. And then they went to YouTube, they went to the blog, say, "Here I go. Let me go and type this bullshit that I don't even believe." Manny Pacquiao got us working overtime now because he picking somebody like Chris Algieri. Another video I was going to make too is, should Floyd Mayweather now, I'm just saying, assuming Chris Algieri gets past Manny Pacquiao, what are people going to think about Mayweather versus Chris Algieri? That's another thing nobody's thought about yet.
I'll tell you what, it's gonna discombobulate their buffoonery. That's what that's going to do. It's what it's going to do.
That's a good way to put it.
It's going to, it's going to short circuit them because they're not going to know how to call it. You know what I mean? They ain't going to know how to call it. If he goes with Algieri, it's still a cherry pick. But you know what I mean? So obviously it's going to work against Floyd because whatever he does, they're still going to try and, condemn him, for whatever the choice is. But like you said, at the core, you know what I mean? It's going to be, it's going to destabilize the non-equilibrium of the decaf, of their their thought processes.
Yeah.
Because Algieri, how is it a cherry pick? He just beat Pacquiao.
Yeah.
But we all know what Floyd,
when it's Floyd,
Mayweather and Algieri. I'm just saying, we all, what Mayweather and Algieri in the ring. It's pretty much a foregone conclusion. Although we know it's boxing, anything could happen. But at the same time, if Algieri beats Pacquiao and Floyd does, they're gonna how's he fighting Algieri?
Yeah.
But then if he doesn't fight him, he didn't fight the guy who just beat Pacquiao. Come on, it's it's ridiculous.
If Floyd,
And Dontae, we talked about this early too. This is my question for boxing fans and all the boxing heads: is this? We can all pretty much agree, I would hope, that Manny Pacquiao, in terms of skill, resume, is a level above Ruslan Provodnikov. You know what I mean? A better fighter. He's known to be a better fighter than Ruslan Provodnikov. Now that he's fighting Chris Algieri, people are saying this is a great fight because Chris Algieri is this and that. So Manny Pacquiao is arguably a better fighter than Ruslan Provodnikov. Yet, where was this level of fanfare when Chris Algieri was fighting Ruslan Provodnikov? All the comments on my channel were people saying Ruslan was going to run through Chris Algieri, he's going to destroy him. Who is this dude? He stands no chance. Now, all of a sudden, he has one fight that he showed true grit and everything, and people are saying, like, he's the quintessential boxer, and he can beat anyone. So where was your faith in Chris Algieri when he was fighting Ruslan?
Yeah, I mean,
since you have so much faith in him now to beat Pacquiao or to trouble Pacquiao.
It's excellent point. I mean, we know it's night and day with Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao. Like I said, Manny Pacquiao fights anybody, it's the greatest opponent in the world. That dude could have lost his last 2 fights. Greatest opponent in the world.
Margachito.
Yeah, absolutely. Cotto. Floyd Mayweather, he fights any opponent in the world. It's a cherry pick. He's a bum. This and that, and so on and so forth, right? Absolutely. So we know it's completely night and day. And let me just say this real quick, because I meant to bring this up when we were talking about Keith Thurman. Does anyone notice, even though these same fans, they want to sick someone like Keith Thurman on Floyd Mayweather, or say accuse Floyd Mayweather of ducking him, and you're scared of him, but does anyone notice, even though these fans are saying this about Keith Thurman, yet none of these fans are treating Keith Thurman like they treat a Gennady Golovkin? You guys notice that?
Absolutely.
Keith Thurman not getting that same kind of love, but they would be happy to pit him against Floyd Mayweather. Yeah. I call that the lesser of two evils.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Go ahead. Go ahead, AK.
Or you don't even hear nobody say that Manny Pacquiao, he's ducking Keith Thurman. You don't hear nobody.
No, of course not.
Only Floyd Mayweather is ducking Keith Thurman. Manny Pacquiao ain't ducking Keith Thurman.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you never hear that.
Exactly.
And Keith Thurman's calling everybody out.
Where you can mix and match the stacked division multiple ways.
Exactly.
Yet the most accomplished, or one of the most accomplished, being Floyd Mayweather in that division, he's the only one that you're saying needs to fight him. It's a stacked division. There's a ton of ways. Why didn't Robert Guerrero fight him? Amir Khan.
Yeah.
There's multiple ways. And don't get me wrong, I would love to see Mayweather and Keith Thurman.
Me too. I would love to fight.
Floyd Mayweather's duty to fight him and nobody else's.
Yeah. Let's just be fair about it is all. Let's just be fair about it, because honestly, fans would not mind if Manny Pacquiao or Juan Marquez didn't fight anyone dangerous. I mean, you read the messages.
Exactly.
They tell you right there, oh, no, he shouldn't fight him. I mean, it's basically like, oh, no, he hits too hard. Oh, no, that guy is knocking everyone out. No, Manny Pacquiao shouldn't fight him. But put Floyd Mayweather in there with Golovkin because that fight makes sense. We know what time it is.
For sure.
We know what time it is. So hey, let's also, before we run out of time, let's talk about Khan.
Already?
Yeah, it's going fast, boy.
Son of a bitch.
But that's good when it's going fast, though,
sure.
man. Khan versus Guerrero. Now,
Excellent.
Ego, you made a video saying that Oscar De La Hoya, he tweeted this fight was going to take place. Go ahead and talk about that, man. What do you think about that fight, Ego?
I'm a little bit torn. I'm torn for the simple fact it's not a bad stylistic fight. I don't think Amir Khan is the sharpest inside fighter, and that's evident in his fight with Lamont Peterson. When someone makes it a dog fight, an uncomfortable fight, he struggles. Plus, there's always that stipulation of will his chin hold up. He has heart. I can't take that away from him. He has incredible hand speed. And then basically both fighters, their strengths are each other's weakness, if that makes sense. So Robert Guerrero, he's not fighting like a ghost. He's fighting very stationary, like his father wants him to, or machismo or whatever.
Yeah.
And he got banged up in a tune-up fight against a Kama guy. So on one angle, I can say, like, Amir Khan, he's just too fast, too sharp. He looked good against Collazo, and he's going to outbox and, possibly tear up Robert Guerrero's face. But Guerrero has a chin, and he's relentless, and Khan doesn't like that inside pressure. So it's a good fight. I don't know if it's a fight that, if Khan wins, should warrant and graduate him to a Mayweather or Pacquiao payday, personally, because I think there's other guys. If Khan fought Keith Thurman or Kell Brook and beat them instantly, I think he should get a Pacquiao Marquez or Mayweather fight. I think that's worth it. I don't really know if beating Guerrero is worth it. Damn sure beating Josecito Lopez, no disrespect, but that shouldn't get you a Mayweather fight at this point.
You know, I would have to go ahead, AK.
Nah, you know, I agree, but you know, the Khan versus Guerrero fight could play out two ways.
That's a great.
You know, if Guerrero comes in there try to box, man, he will get schooled big time. Now, if he comes in there, pressures Khan like he did at Berto and try to keep him on the ropes, now I'm telling you, Khan just can't deal with that because he's not an inside fighter. All he's probably going to do is try to tie up. And Guerrero, he could win the fight easy if he pressures a lot and try to corner him on the ropes. But when I think about it, like it's what the referee going to allow. If the referee going to let Khan hold, he's probably going to be able to get away with a lot of stuff, you know. But if, like I said, if Guerrero goes in there, you know, like with that doggy style, you know, try to pressure Khan and keep him on the ropes and become Maidana, you know, he could win the fight hands down. But like I said, if it's a boxing match, Khan will outbox him easy. But as far as Khan, you know, I don't think he deserves a Floyd Mayweather fight at this point. But Marquez, I think that, I mean, a fight with Marquez, that's a nice fight, and I think he, you know, he don't have to earn a fight with Marquez because Marquez just lost to Timothy Bradley.
What are you saying? You saying Khan versus Marquez? You talking about Guerrero Marquez?
Khan.
Okay,
No, I said that Marquez shouldn't earn a shot like to fight Marquez because, you know, Marquez ain't really all that, you know, right now because he just came off a loss to Timothy Bradley last year.
Yeah.
No, he beat Alvarado, though.
Yeah.
He showed that beat Alvarado. And that's where I'm laughing.
But Alvarado was coming off a loss, so it wasn't like a huge win.
Yeah, that's what I'm.
True.
That was. Oh, I thought you was being sarcastic.
It's
when
still
you said
on Box
Alvarado.
Rack.
Yeah. I mean,
It still counts.
Marquez, like I said, yeah, he fights Mike Alvarado.
For sure.
Coincidentally, the guy who just got knocked out by Ruslan Provodnikov, who he didn't want to fight.
Decline.
So, yeah, that tells you all you need to know. Now, I will say.
Hey, let me give a little input on Guerrero, possibility of Guerrero and Khan. I did speak to Amir Khan at the Box Fan Expo, and he was pretty much, you know, really excited about the possibility of fighting Kell Brook in 2015. So I know Oscar just tweeted that you know, the Guerrero-Khan, you know, is a possibility now. So moving forward with that, I think stylistically it's a great matchup because again it's almost 50-50. I would lean towards Guerrero because of Khan's chin, because of his very questionable chin, but stylistically, you know, again, you got one guy with the speed, you know what I mean, with the, you know, the acumen of the ring. You got another guy that's, like you said, is more of a brawler, you know, a more rugged, you know, type of fighter. One guy's more of a tactician. Those are what classic bouts are made of. You know what I mean? So I think stylistically, I think it's a great matchup, and I would love to see it.
I love the matchup.
Absolutely.
I agree with you,
sure.
Norrin. I love the matchup. I like it much better than what they were talking about, which was Khan versus Alexander. You know, that would not have been that exciting of a fight to watch.
Exactly.
You know? Now, I would have just liked the fact that you do have two top welterweights matched up.
Khan Guerrero was better.
It's better. That's the point I'm making. That's the point I'm making. And it's very competitive. Now, I would disagree slightly with what Eagle said. And AK, I actually think that this would be a good fight for Khan to win to enter the Mayweather sweepstakes. I think, especially if they promote it right, if it's on HBO, Showtime, main event, whatever the case may be, I think this would be a good stepping stone for Khan to fight against Mayweather. Now, the next thing I want to say about this Khan situation, if Khan is fighting against Guerrero, or if he's fighting against anyone other than Floyd Mayweather, doesn't that tell you that Mayweather might actually be sitting around waiting to see what happens with Pacquiao versus Chris Algieri? Norrin, what do you think?
Yeah.
or how's your take? If Khan fights, you know, Guerrero,
Mhm.
he's not fighting Mayweather.
Right.
Who's Mayweather fighting next? You know what I
Right.
mean?
No, the possibility that is certainly there. We're constantly hearing it. The murmurs through the the rumor grapevines and rumor mills is always being somebody saying the fight is going to be made. We're hearing it from pretty always at least sources or people close to the source. We're constantly hearing that the fight will be made. So I know Floyd is sitting there watching. Again, whether the fighter it's from day one, a whole lot ain't changed in 4 or 5 years. It's still the impediment of Arum. You know what I mean? But now I think after all this time with the anticipation, so much has transpired between, the possibility certainly is there. So, yeah, Floyd is sitting there watching, and hopefully it can get made. Like I said,
That's
just so
the
we can
fight
get
we
it
wanna
over with.
see.
For sure.
That's the fight we want to see.
I mean, you know what, Dontae? See, I mean, if Khan beats Guerrero, I'm cool with it if he fights Floyd next. I'm saying
Exactly.
if he doesn't fight Guerrero,
Yeah.
I mean, that's
Okay.
it's not gonna be right.
Let me ask. Let me ask you this, AK. Let me ask you this: what if he fights Kell Brook and beats Kell Brook convincingly? Then what do you think? Do you think he deserves Floyd? Then
hell yeah.
absolutely,
Oh, yeah. No doubt.
absolutely.
That makes it a super
for sure,
duper
for sure.
fight.
Thank you. Okay. Good.
Yeah, that makes it a super
All right,
duper
just
fight.
and if
making sure everybody's awake.
Yeah, and if Kell Brook beats Khan,
For sure.
he should get a Floyd fight.
Yes, sir.
Of course.
He went to
Absolutely.
the sweet state too, but he got stabbed though, so we don't know the situation with him yet. If he's gonna be
he
the
recovered.
same.
Crazy.
We don't even know yet.
Those crazy
Well,
Sheffield
knocked out with
thugs.
one leg.
Those crazy Sheffield soccer
say?
thugs.
Yeah.
Kell
What
Brook
you say?
said he'll knock Khan. Kell Brook said he'll knock Khan out with one leg. That's what he said.
That's a good one.
Yeah. So do you
Yeah, but
go?
if Canelo try to steal the Floyd Mayweather date, fighting Cotto, on May 5th or May 3rd or whatever it is, then Floyd will really have to fight a guy like Pacquiao, to actually sell a lot of pay-per-views, because a fight between Canelo and Cotto will be huge, and that's going to affect. I don't care who Floyd Mayweather fight. If it's not Pacquiao, it's really going to affect the pay-per-view sales. So that will push for Floyd. It will try to. If Canelo fights Cotto on May, it will make Floyd Mayweather almost make the Pacquiao fight happen.
And you bring up a good topic, a hot topic, AK, because I'll tell you right now, I truly believe Floyd Mayweather fights anybody, and he does better numbers. I truly believe that. He fights anyone, he does better numbers
than Canelo.
than Canelo.
So, for sure.
I mean, we got to think.
Yeah,
Canelo and Sergio Martinez, they did real low numbers. Considering that was like one of the biggest fights I wanted to watch, they did lower numbers. Now, don't get me wrong, Canelo is bigger than Sergio Martinez. But at the same time, I truly believe if Floyd fought Amir Khan, that he would still do better numbers than Canelo versus Cotto. And just for the record, I believe Khan actually might be even more dangerous, if not just as much as dangerous as Keith Thurman as an opponent for Floyd Mayweather, because of the foot movement and the hand speed. So
Yeah,
hey, speak on it. Speak on it. Go ahead. Who going next? I'll toss it in the air.
I just want to add it. That Floyd, of course, he's going to outsell Canelo every time, but it's still not gonna be the same. I mean, if Canelo fights on the same day he fights, it's gonna lower Floyd Mayweather pay-per-view numbers. That's all I'm saying. He's still gonna sell a lot more than Canelo, of course, but it's just gonna lower the pay-per-view numbers. And I do agree. I think Amir Khan's style will give Floyd Mayweather a hard time, especially early on. With his speed and accuracy more than Keith Thurman. But that's if the fight takes place.
I'm split on that. I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know either. I don't know either.
Go ahead. Speak on it. Speak on it. What you think?
I mean, real quick, they both. I think those are both strong, threats. Mayweather, he did look a bit older. People are saying he got his tooth knocked out and stuff like that. Khan has the range and length, good in and out movement. Plus, he's trying to perfect his style with Virgil Hunter, and he has that speed. So that is an interesting fight because a jab has been something that Oscar De La Hoya used to his advantage, Cotto, and also Maidana against Floyd Mayweather. But then you got Keith Thurman, who is a good boxer puncher, and he has that crazy power that other people in his weight division can't deal with.
True.
And he even transitioned up to 54. So that's a toss-up. I don't know who's more of a threat to beating Floyd at this point, if any of them can do it.
And that's where I make
and I'm not saying Khan is a better fighter than the Thurman. If Khan fights Thurman, of course I'm gonna pick Keith Thurman. But I'm saying if as far as the style matchup between Floyd and Khan and Floyd and Thurman, I think Khan is he's gonna give Floyd Mayweather more troubles.
I'm gonna make the distinction by saying this: they both will present difficulties for Mayweather, but clearly, simply because of the power, Thurman is the more dangerous fight. Khan's style presents challenges for Floyd. Nothing that he hasn't seen, of course, in his 20-year career, but Khan's a proficient fighter. So it's not a cakewalk, like I said plenty of times. But Thurman, that's a dangerous fight. That's dangerous. So that's why I make the distinction. Thurman is a much more dangerous fight for Floyd, where they both carry, of course, risk. Neither one is a cherry pick.
No.
Neither.
I mean,
sure.
I'll put it this way. To me, they both dangerous, but yeah, Keith Thurman may be slightly more dangerous. I'll put it that way. And, because like I said, the only knock on Keith is on Amir Khan is, of course, his chin. And like you're right, he doesn't have the power.
Exactly.
But that foot movement and the hand speed and the amateur pedigree that he has of using it, it will be interesting. We haven't really seen Floyd, in a fight with someone with that type of style, and I don't know how long.
I would love to see, because again, it's so interesting. I would love to see. I have started. This is one of the reasons why I agreed with Mayweather himself, with Floyd himself, by giving him somewhat of a low or mediocre grade for his performance in Maidana vs. 2, is because it seems like Floyd, in his advanced age, in his advanced age, it seems like he almost prefers, playing the aggressor, or he enjoys it, I should say. He enjoys it. He enjoys walking, these young, strong guys down. You know what I mean? You seen it brought out the best of him in Canelo. And for him to have to assume that role against Khan, I think we'll see, Mayweather A. You know what I mean?
He will definitely step his game up.
For sure.
He steps his game up to the competition.
All the time.
And another thing with Keith Thurman is I sometimes wonder if Keith Thurman, he'll go in there almost a little gun shy. The lights are so big. Floyd Mayweather's in the ring. Floyd is, skill recognized skill.
Of course.
That's the reason why Shane Mosley was so gun shy, because he understands the skill level that Floyd Mayweather has. I think Keith Thurman, don't get me wrong, eventually he'll let his hands go, but I think he would be that way for probably the first half of the fight. He'll be really respecting Floyd's counterpunching ability, his skill, growing up, looking up to this dude, like, this is the man I'm in the ring with. Even though I know you guys are thinking, like, what are you talking about? Keith Thurman got all the power in the world. But you guys will be amazed, man, how much a young dude can respect a legend when he's in the ring with him.
And I would say this. I would say prior to Maidana 2, I would say that I would agree with you. But now, I think he's
he's aged.
Yeah, not so much that Floyd's age, which of course he has aged, but that's not what that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that, being that what we saw in the second Maidana fight, and even previously, the pressure, everybody wants to pressure Floyd and try to knock him out, which we know that's not the way to beat Floyd. That's why he keeps,
the quickest way to get knocked out.
That's why you already know. That's why he keeps exposing these or beating these young fighters. But I'm saying, being based on what we saw in Maidana 2, Mayweather Maidana 2, I think Keith Thurman will come out there not with an identical game plan, but with a similar game plan, and not respect Mayweather and, make Floyd, dig deep.
Yeah.
I mean,
you could be right. This is just speculation, of course. But, that's the way I pretty much see it.
Can I throw an alley-oop?
Throw it in.
Take us out.
Who gonna take it? We got 3 minutes left, guys.
Exactly. So I want to. Hey, listen, guys. Let's take it full circle. Let's
1
go
minute.
back real quick, full circle. Let's go back to how we started the show with condolences to Dan Goossen, his unexpected passing. Condolences to his family, and rest in peace, of course. How do you guys feel that will impact the career moving forward for our number 2 pound-for-pound fighter in the world, Mr. Andre, Son of God Ward?
Excellent question.
Alley-oop.
Real quick, I'm just going to say real quick, I don't think it'll affect Andre Ward at all.
I mean, do you think, now is he going to be free? Is all the red tape has
that depends on how
dispersed?
That depends on how all this the lawsuits and all that shit work, because we don't know if now someone in Goossen's family is going to take over or whatever the case may be. That's how I see it. Go ahead, Ego.
I feel the same way. Just dealing with the courts and the legal system, I don't think it's like, oh, he's free, like it just disappeared. I think he's still going to have to battle whatever he's been going through. Someone else is just going to take over the Goossen state to represent him, obviously, since he's no longer here. So
Absolutely.
I don't know if we'll get Andre Ward immediately back.
Okay. AK?
AK. Anything?
Yeah, I agree, too. I mean, we don't know if, like, his brother going to, take over the business or, of course, he's not going to be free agent one day, one night. We don't know how the process goes as far as the law.
I don't, because of litigious, convolution, I don't think it's going to be overnight either. But I think somewhere soon we'll see that, and I hate to phrase it like this, but it'll kind of work on the behalf of Andre Ward.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying, for lack of better terms.
Yeah. Usually when you owe money to a collections agency, even if they go out of business, you still gonna end up having to pay somebody. Unfortunately.
It'll make it an easier process for him, hopefully.
Hopefully.
For sure.
Hopefully it's a load off of his back.
For sure.
All right, guys. Well, I want to say thank you. We had another good show. We will see you guys next week. Thanks to all my guests, Ego, a.k.a. Rap King, my co-host Norrin Radical, and your boy Dontae in the building. All right, we'll see you guys next week.